What's up, my beautiful people? This is your boy Stefan, your Afro-Grenadian ambassador. Welcome one and all back to my channel, and to my viewers, subscribers, returning subscribers, supporters. I thank you all for subscribing, liking, sharing this channel. Ring the notification bell, don't forget, so that you can get many more updates when I put out a video. I want to give a special shout out to my new channel members. We have another new ICE member, Lily of the Valley. Thank you very much. Welcome to the family. Also, Mr. Byrne, Noel, thank you very much. And Auto718, all out there in Nature Island. Thank you, my Dominican friend. Thank you very, very much. And I do hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, night, afternoon, whichever part of the world that you are watching me from. Don't forget to watch all the ads that are placed on this video. It will be a very good help to this channel. And also, I have put in the link description how you can become a member of this channel. So navigate there, and you will get access to exclusive offers once you become a channel member. Well, in today's video, my friends, we are talking about IMF, the International Monetary Fund, organization of the world, and they have come out with a statement on the behalf of their organization to the people of Kenya, apologizing for the current situation that Kenyans are in right now. You have this female lady that was making a statement on the behalf of MIF, apologizing for the current situation to the lower class people, and also the middle class people. She was apologizing for the current situation there. We're going to take a listen of what she have said, the statement that she have made, and then we're going to come back and discuss all about it. So stay tuned.
Let me start by expressing our deepest sympathy to the people affected by the tragic events in Kenya. Our hearts go out to those who have lost their lives, lost loved ones, or suffered injuries. With respect to Kenya's broader situation, I think it's important to say that the situation in Kenya reflects broader challenges facing many of our low-income members. Many of these countries are experiencing a funding squeeze, including on account of tighter global financial conditions and reduced availability of concessional financing. So policymakers in these countries, including in Kenya, face a complex balancing act. They have pressing spending needs in priority areas, such as social programs, health, and education. They're managing rising public debt and debt service, and they also have the challenge of boosting domestic revenue. For Kenya specifically, the goal of our IMF-supported program is to help establish sound macroeconomic fundamentals, and these are crucial for fostering sustainable and inclusive growth in the country, crucial for generating jobs for the Kenyan people, including Kenya's young population. We are currently working with the authorities to ensure that these objectives can be met, and we recognize that there's a careful balance between providing public services and securing adequate financing. Our program also includes initiatives to improve governance and transparency, and to ensure responsible use of public funds, to safeguard social programs and social spending, particularly to protect the most vulnerable members of society. It's also important that these policies that are under discussion go through a process of broad consultation, so they can gain broad public support. We remain committed to supporting Kenya in its effort to achieve inclusive growth. At every program review, we do take the opportunity to assess developments and make adjustments considering the evolving circumstances. And that's exactly what we're doing in our active and constructive discussion with the Kenyan authorities.
Yes, folks, so let me know what you make of these apologies. Some critics are saying is that this apology from the IMF does not mean anything to the Kenyan people. It does not bring profit or nor benefit to the Kenyan people. And IMF will continue to be the colonial masters that they are. Some are saying is that this apology is somewhat a damage control to the damages. You know, it's a damage control statement of the damages that IMF have caused to the Kenyan people, the Kenyan population, and the Kenyan economy at large. You know, the question still remains: is the IMF losing the relevance? You know, is the IMF relevant for our society today, or are they the ones that is contributing to the problems that most of us are going through as a people, lower people who are working for minimum wage, you know, especially black nations. You know, some are saying IMF does not play a role, you know, in the development of any country because they are only suppressing the poor and making the rich richer. And these are some critics. These are some things that critics are saying. You know, yeah, the IMF is not benefiting anyone. Rather than the IMF is helping a country grow, it is causing more and more countries that are in vulnerable situations like Kenya, you know, and even here in the Caribbean, you know, it is putting us. IMF is a debt trap. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think IMF is a debt trap, or IMF plays a vital role in the growth and development of a country, or are they only about the rich, making the rich richer and the poor poorer? Are they the ones that is contributing to the gap that is between the lower class, the middle class, and the higher class? Yeah, but we see that the Kenyan people continue to go through this financial crisis that they are in, you know, despite of the monetary funds that they are getting. A lot of the Kenyan people are in poverty. Okay, I'm going to read to you an article that I came across that highlights the major issues that are affecting Kenya at this very present moment. Okay, let's take a look at it. Okay, so the article reads, debt and corruption. That is the major issues that are facing Kenyans right now. That is what is causing the turmoil, the dissatisfaction of the Kenyan population, debt and corruption. These debt and corruption have been accumulated because of past decisions of leaders, okay, poor judgments of leaders. And some are saying as well, this debt and corruption is contributed by the IMF as well. The IMF has contributed to the debt and corruption of the Kenyan people. Now, the article went on to read, any effective enduring response to Kenya's turmoil must address the underlying social crisis of poverty and inequality. There's a huge inequality gap that is in the Kenyan population of society right now. In any population that is, you know, even here in the Caribbean, there's a huge gap between the rich and the poor. Now, Kenya's economy grew well before the COVID pandemic in 2020, in part due to reforms friendly to business expansion. For years, the World Bank and others have noted Kenya lifted many of its people out of poverty. So Kenya was doing well, okay, during the COVID pandemic or 2020, the year 2020, the economy was doing well. Nearly 47% of Kenyans live below the national poverty line in 2006. But Kenya reduced that rate to about 33% in 2019. And the current government has sustained significant growth better than 5% last year, in part through the embrace and rapid expansion of its digital economy. But as in much of Africa, where improving life experiences are driving the world's fastest population growth, Kenya needs extraordinary and sustained economic growth to achieve its vital task of continuing to reduce poverty. A headline from the World Bank just weeks ago tells the difficult story. African economy is projected to grow 3.4% in 2024, but faster and more equitable growth needed to reduce poverty. Any country would face a challenge in meeting the needed growth rate. So the economy of Kenya is doing well, but there's a demand for faster growth. So is this demand is this very demand is the problem that is driving the Kenyan leaders to accumulating debt, especially foreign debt, in borrowing from the MIF, and as much as the loan might bring somewhat of a short-term relief to the Kenyan population, it is the long-term consequences, the long-term effects that most leaders should look at. These are what some critics are saying. Because most of the time, when there's an objective to achieve, most of the time what happens, leaders focus on the short term, but not the long term effects. You know? So we are seeing here that this demand for fast growth, consistent growth in the economy is what driving the African leaders or the authorities to make these certain decisions, poor financial decisions, that is accumulating more problems rather than bringing more benefits. Any country would face a challenge in meeting the needed growth rates, but as that report notes, many African states like Kenya face special burdens: the debt of past and current economic inequalities, and enormous burden of foreign debts. So yes, this is something also that we have somewhat experienced here in Grenada. I can only talk for Grenada, but a lot of Caribbean countries are going through that as well. But here in Grenada, we have, because of poor financial decisions that some of our leaders have made, we have accumulated so much foreign debts that instead we invest in developing other areas that will bring jobs, that will better lives for the local population. Some of the leaders have to invest much of the time and energy and finances in clearing off that debt. So these are some of the things that does bring the turmoil and the crisis to a nation, because of poor financial decision. And when you get these kind of monetary funds, it comes with strings attached. You are not free to do what you want. Sometimes these monetary funds, you have to meet demands. It comes with conditions, because every agreement comes with conditions. We give you this in return for this. Now, the article went on saying Kenya also finds its growth limited by widespread corruption and some questionable economic decisions of past years. Over the past decade, Kenya has invested heavily in much of the infrastructure. Let me read that again. Kenya has invested heavily in major infrastructure projects. A new standard gauge railroad from Mombasa to Nairobi, a modern international air terminal in Nairobi, major roads in and around the capital, and dam projects. But these projects required heavy foreign loans. Kenya's domestic and foreign debt now reach $80 billion, approximately 70% of its entire gross domestic product. So despite of these loans are doing somewhat of good to the Kenya economy, like these projects that we have just mentioned, infrastructure, all these things are being built, all these things are being done, yet the aftermath, the effects of these loans are causing more harm than good. It is causing people to live below the poverty line more than anything else. A lot of unemployment. It is causing a lot of unemployment. Yes, because when you have all these debts to pay as a nation, there are some things you need to cut from. Because even here in Grenada, there was so much debt we accumulated that a lot of us had to pay more in tax. Basic items, basic goods that we could have afford has skyrocketed. And the average Grenadians couldn't afford them anymore. A lot of people had to sell a lot of the things. A lot of people lost their jobs. So the question is that our leaders, is it should we entirely blame IMF, or should we blame the mentality, the spending habits, the money habits of our leaders? Are they the problem in borrowing and focusing on short-term goals but not mindful of the long-term goals? Or should we solely or entirely blame the IMF? These are some questions that are on the table. Okay, some people believe it's the IMF, while some people believe the problem is with our leaders. Begging and borrowing too much, accumulating too much of debts, reaching where there's this saying in the Caribbean: we try to stretch our hand where we cannot reach. We are accumulating things that we cannot afford or we cannot handle. Okay, so let me finish reading this. So yes, the debt repayments now eat nearly half of the government's budget, crimping the country's ability to sustain the necessary development projects for growth. The debt burden pushes the country toward the instability we have seen this week. So all the protests that we have been seeing in Kenya, this is what is going on. It's because of bad decisions, financial decisions of leaders, the high accumulation of debts and loans. To do things, yes, that is good for a short while, but at the end, it is the population, the civilization, the Kenyan people. It is the people that have to pay a heavy price, and that is plunging the country even into deeper financial crisis. And that is what we are seeing that is taking place, or the major issue that is going on right now with Kenyans. So that's it for me, guys. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to let the Kenyan people know, the Kenyan youths, the Kenyan people, the population of Kenya, my brothers and sisters in Kenya who are listening to me right now, that our thoughts and our prayers here in the Caribbean and in Grenada particular are with you, and we are all in this struggle together. But I am optimistic you guys going to get through this, and Kenya will continue to be the pride of Africa. God bless you. Take care until we see again.